When systems fail and institutions cause harm, folk magic offers a way to reclaim power and demand justice. Today I'm sharing a traditional hexing jar spell that witches have used for generations to hold wrongdoers accountable and create meaningful change. Hello my darlings and welcome. In this video, I'll walk you through the art of hexing in folk magic through a powerful souring jar spell. I'll share the magical properties behind each ingredient, the theories that make this spell effective, and why hexing has always been a political act. Let's do some magical crafting. Before I share this method, I want to be clear about ethical hexing. This technique is for targeting genuinely harmful individuals, corrupt institutions, or oppressive systems. This isn't about petty revenge or silencing people you simply disagree with. Hexing is for situations where real harm is being done and other remedies have failed. If you do not work baneful magic, then this video is not for you. I have hundreds of other videos and tutorials for positive magic that you can watch. I also have a social justice playlist that I'll link below that offers more ideas on how to use magic to work against a corrupt political system like the one I find myself living under now. Witchcraft has never existed in a vacuum separate from politics. Throughout history, the people most often accused of witchcraft were those who threatened power structures. Folk magic developed as a tool for the powerless to resist oppression, and hexing remains one of the most direct ways to confront harm when conventional paths to justice are blocked. This magical work matters politically. When we hex corrupt politicians, abusive CEOs, institutions that perpetuate harm, or individuals who exploit others, we're participating in a tradition of magical resistance that stretches back centuries. We're saying that those in power don't get to harm people without consequence, even if they're shielded by wealth, status, or legal protection. Mass hexing movements have existed throughout history. Groups of witches have come together to hex slave traders, to hex war profiteers, to hex those who abuse power. In recent years, you've seen witches organized to hex sexual assaulters who face no legal consequences, to hex politicians who strip away human rights, and hex corporations that destroy the environment. This isn't about replacing activism or direct action. Hexing works best when combined with material resistance, voting, protesting, boycotting, whistleblowing, organizing, and supporting those who are harmed. Magic amplifies and supports physical action. It helps shift energy, create openings for justice, and sustain your own power when fighting feels exhausting. This spell jar is designed to sour someone's reputation, turn their schemes against them, and create obstacles in their harmful pursuits. This works beautifully for targeting both individuals and institutions. These are the materials I'm using to create my sour jar. You do not have to have everything listed here. Use the materials that you have access to. I'm using a jar with a lid, a sour fruit like a lemon or a lime, the name of my target, and description of what I want to sour written on paper, flies, rusty iron nails, dried rue, dried nettle, parsley, asafoetida powder, white vinegar, banishing oil, and black candles. I wrote my targets' names, their birth dates, and birth locations on a piece of paper. If you're hexing an institution or business rather than a person, write the full legal name of the organization. Next, I'm writing what I want to sour. This might be their credibility, their influence, their ability to harm others, or their corrupt practices. Be specific about what you're targeting. I wrote this across the names. Then I fold the paper away from me 3 times, turning it counterclockwise between each fold. This motion symbolically pushes the target away and diminishes their power. Next, I'm working with a sour fruit, a lime. You can use a fresh lime or one that has turned bad. I chose one that has turned brown and leathery. Lime intensifies the souring work, adding sharp acidity to the bitterness of the spell. The citric acid works alongside vinegar to break down and corrode, while the lime's association with cleansing reverses here into stripping away your target's defenses and protection. I'm slicing open the fruit and placing the folded paper inside the lime, sandwiching everything between 2 layers of souring citrus. This doubles the acidic, corrosive energy and ensures your target is completely surrounded by forces that break them down. Next, I use rusty iron nails to pierce through the paper and the lime beneath them. This physical piercing creates a powerful magical link. You're literally pinning your target's name and intentions to the souring agent, binding them to face the consequences of their actions. Rusty iron nails serve multiple purposes in folk magic. Iron has protective and binding properties, but rusted iron specifically represents decay, deterioration, and the breakdown of strength. These nails will rust further in the liquid, spreading corruption through the spell and symbolizing how your target's power and influence will corrode over time. The act of piercing also represents breaking through any protections or defenses your target might have. Next, I'm adding herbs and spices. If you don't have all of these specific ingredients, folk magic is flexible and works with what you have available. Here are suggestions for powerful herbs and materials you can add to your hexing jar, each bringing its own properties to the work. I started with rue, a powerful herb for hexing and reversing harm. Its magical properties include breaking curses, banishing negative influences, and turning malicious intent back on its sender. In this spell, rue ensures that any harm your target tries to cause rebounds on them instead. It creates a mirror that reflects their own toxicity. Next, I added nettle. This plant defends itself with stinging hairs that cause immediate pain and irritation. In hexing work, nettle brings that same stinging, persistent discomfort to your target. The plant's defensive nature reverses to become offensive in a hex, ensuring that everything your target touches causes them irritation and difficulty. Nettle also creates a barrier that prevents your target from finding comfort or relief. The sting lingers just as consequences should linger for those who cause harm. I'm adding parsley. You can use fresh or dried. I chose to use parsley that had turned rotten. This herb might surprise you in a hex, as it's often associated with protection and purification. However, parsley has a much darker side in folk magic and folklore. Ancient Greeks associated parsley with death and funerary rites, planting it on graves and using it in burial ceremonies. The Romans considered it deeply unlucky, believing that parsley belonged to the realm of the dead. In British and European folk magic, parsley earned a sinister reputation. It's said to grow best for the wicked, and transplanting parsley was believed to bring death to the household. The herb's slow germination, taking weeks to sprout, led to the folk saying that parsley goes to the devil and back 7 times before it grows. In hexing work, parsley represents the gradual, persistent nature of justice and carries those ancient associations with death, misfortune, and crossing into darker realms. I'm adding asafoetida. This spice has an incredibly foul smell, which is exactly why it's used in hexing and banishing work. In folk magic, asafoetida drives away evil, but in hexing, it makes your target repulsive to others. It sours their social connections, makes people instinctively avoid them, and creates an energetic stench around their presence. When you want someone isolated and avoided, asafoetida accomplishes this through its genuinely repellent properties. I'm also adding flies as a symbol of rot and decay. Flies are attracted to dead things and are a powerful agent of decomposition. They represent the breakdown of what is no longer needed. They can represent endings and can be used in magic for endings, release, banishing, and hexing. Here are some other options of herbs you can use for banishing work. Wormwood is one of the most potent banishing herbs in folk magic. It's associated with bitterness, exile, and driving away unwanted influences. In your hexing jar, wormwood ensures your target tastes the bitterness of their own actions. Black pepper is used for aggressive protection and driving away enemies in folk magic. Black pepper in your hex jar ensures your target experiences constant irritation and that their temper works against them, damaging their reputation and relationships. Cayenne pepper brings even more aggressive energy than black pepper, with burning, searing power. Cayenne can burn away your target's power, scorch their reputation, and cause their plans to go up in flames. It's particularly effective when you want swift justice rather than slow-building consequences. Graveyard dirt, while not an herb, is a traditional ingredient in hexing and cursing work across many folk magic traditions. Graveyard dirt connects your hex to the realm of the dead and lends it the weight of mortality. Mullein, known as graveyard dust in some folk traditions, has associations with necromancy and communicating with the dead. In hexing work, mullein can call upon the spirits of those your target has harmed to bear witness and seek justice. Choose the herbs that align with your specific intention. If you want swift, burning justice, use cayenne. If you want to call in spiritual witnesses, use mullein or graveyard dirt. Folk magic responds to your intention and the symbolic properties you're working with, so trust your instincts about which ingredients will serve your purpose. I'm pouring white vinegar over everything until the jar is about 3/4 full. White vinegar is your primary souring agent. In folk magic, vinegar represents bitterness, dissolution, and the breaking down of sweet situations into sour ones. When you pour vinegar over someone's name, you're symbolically turning everything they touch acidic and unpleasant. Their words lose persuasive power, their actions face resistance, and their reputation begins to curdle. The vinegar also activates the lime and begins the rusting process on the nails, setting all the corrosive energies in motion. I'm adding banishing oil to the top of the jar. I have a video showing how to make this oil, and I'll link that in the description. This oil gives your hex directionality. It doesn't just sour your target's endeavors, but actively pushes them out of positions where they can cause harm. The oil floats on top of the vinegar, creating a seal that carries your intention that this person or institution loses influence, loses platforms, and loses the ability to continue their harmful behavior. I seal the jar with fire and intention. Black candles are used for banishing, protection, and absorbing negative energy. In this working, the black candle represents the absorption of your target's harmful power and the sealing of your hex. As a way to charge my jar and finish my spell, I'm writing my intentions on a piece of paper. When you do this, be specific about what you want to manifest: the target's downfall, their loss of influence, their schemes unraveling, justice being served. I'm lighting this paper in the flames of the black candle and letting it burn in a fire-safe cauldron. As the paper burns, your intentions are released into the universe, and the smoke carries your hex into the spiritual realm. I'll let the black candles burn down completely on top of the jar. As the wax melts and seals the lid, you're binding everything inside and preventing your target from escaping the consequences of their actions. The candle creates both a physical and energetic seal. I will place this jar on my social justice altar and continue to burn black candles on it. Another option is to store the jar somewhere dark and forgotten. Each time you remember it, give it a shake to reactivate the spell. The longer the jar sits, the more the ingredients break down and intensify, just as the consequences intensify for your target. Renew this jar every month during an appropriate moon phase. The dark moon or waning moon are ideal for hexing work, as these phases are associated with banishing, decreasing, and removing unwanted influences. Each month, repeat the candle sealing process. Place a new black candle on the jar. Write your continuing intentions on paper. Burn the paper in the candle flame, and let the candle burn down to reinforce and amplify the hex. This monthly renewal keeps the energy active and ensures your target continues to face consequences until justice is served. Folk magic has always belonged to the marginalized and the oppressed. It has always been political. When you hex those who cause harm, you're continuing a tradition of resistance that refuses to accept abuse of power as inevitable. May your hexes be precise, may your aim be true, and may justice find its way to those who believe themselves untouchable.